Welcome to another exciting episode of Muscle Serpents University. I'm your host, Dave Palumbo, and I'm here with Vin Russo, the author of The Complete Boa Constrictor. But today, Vin, we're not going to be talking about boa constrictors. We're going to be talking about ball pythons. We're going to be talking about the Caramel Albino and the Ultramel Albino ball python, and how some of the amazing things you've done with this. First of all, let's start off and explain what they are, because a lot of people think that these are what we call T-positive albino snakes, meaning that they lack the tyrosinase enzyme, and they have a little less melanin, but they're not complete albinos. Some people think that they're hypomelanistic. Explain the difference and explain what you think is going on here.
Well, originally the first caramels that came into the industry back in, I guess, the 90s, Kevin McCurley from NERD, New England Reptile Distributors, started off with what he called as a caramel. And at first, and still to this day, it was thought to be a T-positive albino, because it was a caramelly-looking snake, a little bit of a root beer color to it.
Right.
So that was the reason why the T-positive aspect came into effect. Then in the industry, people just simply called them caramels.
Gotcha.
Okay?
So the albino kind of was
dropped.
So
or maybe they might call them caramel albinos. Then a few other things were popping up, like ultramels. But in the beginning, nobody knew the difference between an ultramel and a caramel, because they looked similar as adults.
What is the difference?
The difference is they're two different traits. I mean, color-wise, the ultramel is a little more orange.
Let's see an ultramel right here. We have one right here. Take this out. Get a close-up of this.
Now, as you can see, it's got a lot of orange on it and a little bit of like a lavendery color in between. It's hard to tell from the close-ups, but it's
a nice-looking snake, though.
Yeah, it's definitely a cool-looking snake. There's something definitely really nice and neat about it.
And then let's show. I think we have a picture of a pure caramel albino.
Yeah, we'll put that on the screen.
Let's put that up.
The caramels are a little more of a root. I call them root beer colored. And as they get older, some of them get a little more orange. And that was the reason why people thought the caramel and the ultramel was synonymous.
Right. There we go.
Okay, so as you can see in the picture, the caramel is the one on the top. It's a little more of a root beery color. The ultramel's to the left, and the Camarillo, which we'll get into in a little while, is the double homozygous of both those traits. That's on the right.
Now, you decided you were going to breed the caramel albino to the ultramel.
No, believe it or not, the way I got these was totally by accident.
Okay.
Another breeder named Mark Bell had some snakes that he probably called caramel at the time, and he had bought some what he thought were het caramels from another breeder, and when he bred them to each other, he didn't make any caramels.
That's weird.
So he was like, I guess I either got screwed or they're two different traits. In reality, they were two different traits. So in the beginning, people thought they were one and the same. And the name Ultramel hadn't even come up back then. This was back in 2001.
Who named it the Ultramel?
I think Noah did in Africa when he was sending a few of them over here. I'm not positive, though. So I had gotten some of these het caramels from Mark Bell's line.
That had nothing, that displayed nothing.
They were normals,
yes.
Het caramel. And I had gotten, he had an abundance of males. So I had gotten 2 males. I bred them to normal females.
Right.
Kept all the normal possible het females.
Right.
This was in 2001
what a pain in the neck that sounds like.
Right. And bred the definite het males back to their possible het daughters 2 to 3 years later.
And what did you produce?
And right out of the gate, I had 3 clutches born that year. 1 female produced a caramel.
Yeah. 1
female produced an ultramel, and 1 female produced the Camarillo.
So wow, and that's right here, the Camarillo.
Right.
Yeah, let's take him.
So I got pretty lucky hitting a 1 in 16 odds.
This is a double recessive trait, obviously.
From possible hets, which turn out to be definite hets.
Which is a combination. And how do you identify it? Just as a lighter snake?
It's a super yellow snake with a lot of lavender, and they have red eyes, as you can see.
Which is weird, because the Ultramel doesn't have red eyes.
No, they don't. Who knows what happened?
Why do you think that it kind of they interacted with each other?
Yeah, they definitely interacted in the double homozygous form. I remember showing Kevin McCurley one of these Ultramels and then showing him one of these at a trade show when I first made them, and I said, is this I thought this might be an albino caramel.
Oh,
You know what I
okay,
mean?
yeah,
'Cause
you
it
weren't
had
sure.
red eyes. And he said, "Vin, I've never seen anything like that before. I don't know what you have."
That's a good comment to get from Kevin
So
McCurley.
a few years later, the Ultramels started popping up from a few other breeders,
Right.
and they started calling them Ultramels. And again, a lot of those snakes went back to Mark Bell. So we saw that.
You realized what was going on.
Yeah, and then I figured it out. It took a few years.
So you're the first person to produce this.
I made the first Camarillo, which is the double homozygous Ultramel.
You named it, so you get to name it.
Yeah, I named it. Camarillo just means yellow.
Right.
You know, Amarillo means yellow.
Right.
So Caramel, Amarillo, Camarillo.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Yeah.
So are you the only person that has these now, or have they
No,
spread
I'm sure
now?
a few other people
Yeah.
have made them. Yeah.
I haven't seen them anywhere, to be honest with you. I bought one from you, so I feel honored to have one in
You
my
have
collection.
The original line.
Yes,
right,
there you
right,
go.
Right.
And I have a het too. I have an Ultramel
Right.
het caramel, so hopefully at some point I'll breed them.
Right.
Now this is I have one of these too from you. This is an Ultramel pinstripe, right?
Right.
Now, the pinstripe obviously is a dominant trait,
Exactly.
so it must have been a little easier to get them into
It
this.
was easier to do that. I bred an Ultramel to a pin and made pins head Ultramel and raised up the males and bred them back. Those male pinstripes head Ultramel, bred them back to Ultramels and made Ultramel pins.
Now this just has amazing color.
Yeah, it's amazing how much lighter it is to a normal Ultramel. So
it
it's
doesn't-
like a few shades
Yeah,
lighter.
it almost
Yeah.
looks like the Camarillo
Almost,
with the
yeah.
pinstripe in it.
Yeah.
I almost thought when I bought it from you originally, that's what I thought it was. I thought it had both jeans and the pinstripe in it, which would be obviously pretty cool
Right,
if you could
right.
do that.
I've done that too.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, I haven't revealed that yet.
What does it look like? Does it look like
It
this?
looks similar. Yeah.
Now, where do you go from here with this? What's the next thing? Would you try to get an actual real albino into this?
You know, where do I go from here? It's funny you mentioned that because I think we're just seeing the tip of the iceberg with Ultramels because they haven't been added into a lot yet.
No.
I think a pied has been done.
Oh, it has an
And
Ultramel
a pied
pied?
Ultramel is just unbelievable.
What about a Caramello pied?
Who knows what that'll be? I mean, that could be
It's a
unbelievable.
triple recessive you'd have to hit on.
I mean,
though.
we're just at the infancy of what these can do, and it amazes me that not a lot of people are aware of this Ultramel trait.
It almost looks a little bit like the Candino to me.
This does, yes.
Yes.
The Candino and this are very similar. The only difference is, as these mature, they stay that way. The Candino looks like an albino as an
Yes.
adult.
Oh, it does. It gets
yeah,
lighter.
it looks like a lighter albino. So these keep that purplish color and that bright.
And they're patternless. I mean, they don't have any specks on them because they almost look a little like bananas too.
Right,
but they
look
have
like
no speckling.
Yeah, they don't have a stitch of specks on them at all. So yes, I think we've only seen the tip of the iceberg as far as what the Ultramel can make. Just imagine what it'll look like mixed into other things.
What would you all ideally, dream-wise, like to
I'm
mix
trying to
into?
make a Ultramel sugar.
That would be nice.
I think that'll be really nice,
Yeah.
and I'm working on an Ultramel pied. Well, we'll see.
Everything pied seems to be popular
Everything
these
pied
days.
is nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
anything pied is nice.
Now, do you think the Ultramel gene would screw the pied up, like kind of like Enchi kind of takes some of the white out of it?
Well, it's definitely going to have the blotches of white because it has been done. A caramel pied and an Ultramel pied have been done, but for some reason the opposite happens. The pied affects the Ultramel and it fades it out and makes it look like toffee candy. I mean, it looks really cool.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool stuff. Now, you being the boa constrictor breeder that you are, and the expert in boa constrictors, you also happen to be the ball python guy because everyone knows you as the Russo Leucistic. You know,
Right.
the first guy who produced the blue-eyed Leucistic.
Right.
How is that project going? Anything that you've done with that further? I know you sell a lot of those.
Yeah, I've mixed them into a bunch of different things. As a lot of people know, that the het for Leucistic, the het Russos, are incomplete dominant. They're a little more yellow than a normal.
You call them
ball
lemons,
python.
right?
I used to call them lemons when I first made them, but then people just started calling them het Russos.
Okay.
Greg Graziani started that.
And you love that. You gotta love when they name it after you.
It's kind of funny because you look on the World of Ball Pythons, it says Russo ball.
Yeah, which
But luckily, I didn't name it that. I
Yeah.
called them lemon balls. The hets were lemons, and the leucistics I called white diamonds.
Mm-hmm.
So in the industry, people call the leucistics, they call them super Russos,
Okay.
and the hets they call het Russos.
There you go.
So, but the het Russos make some really cool stuff because they're dominant. I've made pinstripe het Russos, banana het Russos.
What about Ultramel?
I haven't done an Ultramel het Russo yet. That could be really
That's
cool.
your legacy, right
Yeah,
there.
that could be. We'll see.
Well, thanks again. This is some great information. If you're looking for an Ultramel or a Caramel Albino or a Camarillo, which is a mixture, you can contact Cutting Edge Herps on Facebook or on his website. For now, we're out of time. I'm Dave Palumbo with Vin Russo for Muscle Serpents University.